Hey, you guys, I am here with Heather, and I am so excited for you to hear her testimony. I have got some products that I want to walk you through and talk a little bit about them, but I think that I'm going to do that afterwards. I'm just going to give a quick rundown because I just want to give Heather the go ahead to tell her story because I can't wait to hear it.
So you're going to wave a flag, right, when I go too long?
Sure, sure.
Okay. Well, I'm Heather, and I've been with Plexus for 10 years now. And when I first started, I was a brand new mom. I had just had my son. I was in the throes of postpartum, new momness. But what kind of complicated my situation was that a few minutes after I delivered my son, I received a delivery room, we call it a birth diagnosis, that my son had Down syndrome. And that just, well, you can imagine it rocked my world. It was just crazy. On top of that, so I was suddenly, I'd never been a parent before, and suddenly I was responsible for this human who was not only dependent on me for life, but had all these extra needs associated with it. Um, and so I was dealing with navigating that, and in the middle of all that, I was living off of my couch trying to nurse this kid who had a lot of struggles. And so for 5 months, I just kind of fell deeper and deeper into this pit of undiagnosed postpartum anxiety. I had no idea what it was then. Now I do. Hindsight is 2020. They talk a lot about postpartum depression. They don't talk a lot about postpartum anxiety. And looking back, that is what I had. I was on the phone with my husband or my mom daily at that point, just sobbing meltdowns. I was hyperventilating, panic attacks, you name it. I had it. And I was seeing a resurgence of all of these issues that I had thought I had dealt with and put behind me in my early 20s. Fatigue, insomnia. I had all the regular postpartum, weight struggles, but I was actually I started gaining weight after I lost a bunch of weight. Initially, you lose your baby weight, you lose your placenta weight, you lose all the water weight. And you're like, yes, I'm on the right track. But my weight just started creeping back up because of the stress. There's this lot of talk about stress and cortisol, and I was completely out of whack. I had dealt with adrenal struggles earlier in my 20s. So I think some of those issues were coming back. And to top it all off, during my pregnancy with my son, I had been diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And so I had been on medication for that during my pregnancy. And they were like, oh, when your pregnancy's over and you deliver, this will resolve. It never resolved, guys. And so I was on that, and I was dealing with those thyroid issues as well. So there was just all of these things kind of coming at me. And I had a friend who was like, I think I think I have this thing that might help you. It's really helped me. And being the daughter of a nurse and an engineer, I put it off. And I thought, no, like I got this. I'm gonna handle it. And but I kept thinking about it. And I honestly, about 5 months postpartum, kind of hit rock bottom. It was a really, really difficult season. And I thought, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to conflict with all these other things that I'm doing. It's not going to interact with the thyroid medication I'm on. All it could possibly do is better support my body. So I took a chance and I said yes. And I started with a simple gut health system. And I don't have, I think, you hear about these things, and some people have these really immediate transformations. And I'm here to say that I think the best reviews and the best stories come from people who maybe don't have those overnight transformations. And I'm one of them. I did notice changes, but nothing solved anything for me overnight. And that's because there is no magic pill. There's no magic pill. There's no quick fix in this world. If you're looking for that, go to Jesus. He's the only quick fix. But what I'm trying to say is over time, as I added additional lifestyle changes, as I started to manage my stress, as I started to move my body, I started to notice things. And I would say within a few months, I had noticed that my anxiety was significantly decreased. I was sleeping better. There were all of these things that I were on sort of my checklist of struggles that I was having that were slowly not as bad. They weren't completely better, but they weren't as bad. And when something's not as bad and you realize it, it just gives you so much hope. And just that little extra ability to function is that's energy that I could put towards my son. I received that Down syndrome diagnosis for him at birth, but I didn't even touch researching what Down syndrome was or what that meant for him or what that meant for our family until he was 7 or 8 months old. That's how entrenched I was in my own struggles. I didn't even reach out for help I didn't even know there was a Down syndrome association or that there was early intervention or any of the things that we were able to get him help, get in touch with to get help for him. I didn't know any of those things until a couple months into my gut health journey when suddenly I had a little bit more clarity of mind and I wasn't sobbing my way through my days and I wasn't surviving on coffee and prayers. I was still surviving on a lot of prayers, but not as much coffee. Um, and I suddenly had more control over my relationship with food. I could say no to dessert. I could limit myself and not feel like I was in a scarcity mindset. And for me, that was huge. That was so huge. And so I didn't lose any weight immediately. I mean, I was postpartum, I was breastfeeding. Everyone's like, it'll fall off when you're breastfeeding. That is not true for some people, let me tell you. And that's true whether you're taking a gut health protocol or not. Like, that's just how the female body's made. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. And so, but I will say that I hung on to my milk supply. Nothing affects your milk supply worse than stress. And I hung on to that milk supply and I was able to pump exclusively until he was a year old. And after I had weaned him, I did start to see the weight come off and it came off consistently over the course of the year. It came off. And I have, over the last 10 years, gained weight and lost weight for a variety of reasons, car accidents, um, trauma, the loss of parents, medical issues. I had another child, legitimate reasons to gain and lose weight, legitimate reasons that your body can do amazing things and adapt to incredible circumstances. But never once have I thought, oh, it's never going to come off, or this fatigue is forever, or I'm so stuck. I have not felt stuck since 10 years ago when I said yes to working on my gut. And that has been such a gift because to have the energy to take my son to the therapies that he needs, there is a hypervigilance that comes with special needs parenting that I don't think a lot of people realize. Even when I'm in another room, even when I know that he's in a situation with teachers or professionals that I trust, I'm still thinking, is he okay? Is he managing? Can they understand what he's saying? Does he need to go to the bathroom? Will he be able to go to the bathroom? Do I need to take him to the bathroom? There are all of these things that I'm constantly thinking about. And so my stress levels day to day still are very high. But having the energy, having the stress management, my go tos are the triplex system, the vitamins, and the E's. Those are my go tos. I have loved adding the liver detox in the last year and adding our nutritionally supported fast in the last 2 years. Those things have really been game changers for me. I've been someone who's intermittent fasted since before it was cool, y'all. But those have been just really big game changers for me in the last 2 years. But that's kind of been my story. So over the last 10 years, like that was sort of the big initial thing for me. And then over the last 10 years, I've just kind of had those ups and downs. But as it stands now, I'm not at the lightest weight of my life. I feel like but I'm healthy. I like to tell people I can go to the gym and I can push the weight of a grown man on a sleigh, and I can deadlift the amount of both my children at once. So, if a bear was chasing us or somebody fell down and was unconscious, we'd be in good shape. And the whole bear chasing me scenario was actually like could be legit because I just spent 3.5 weeks camping. So like I just took a road trip and I had energy and I could function and I could keep up with my family. And 10 years ago, I don't know if I could have said that. I didn't feel that way. I very rarely have brain fog or headaches or cravings. My PMS symptoms are non-existent. My cycle slides in. If I'm not watching and counting the days, it just shows up and it's like, hi, I'm here. Nice to see you this month. I get like no warning because there's no PMS to like tell me, oh, you're cranky as all get out and, bloated and all the things. It just doesn't happen. My insomnia, do I have sleepless nights? Yeah, every mom does. But do I have insomnia like I did? No. Your gut is such a central location for your immune system, for your melatonin, for hormone conversion, for all of these things that your body needs to just simply function and function well. And so I'm here to say there is no quick fix. But if you're looking for something that you can create sustainable and attainable results with, this is a really great place to start. And especially when you pair it with lifestyle and healthy habits, it will see you through.
Oh my gosh. I'm just, did you see me cheering you on? I was like, yes. The whole, just talk about consistency, like healing over time. Let me see if I can, oh, here we go. We can get back to, um, I am such a huge advocate of the fact that when you naturally heal, that you have to give it time. And it's not just like those first things that you notice when you're starting to heal naturally are, just you're sleeping better, your energy is better, but it's like those huge groundbreaking things happen like sometimes 9 months down the road. For my first 3 years on these products, I like every year I would not only feel better, but look younger. It's crazy. I was just sharing my before picture with somebody at my weight bar class this morning, and I was like, here's my before picture. This was 10 years ago. I was 10 years younger, and I look 10 years older than I am now. Like it is unbelievable. But anyway, Heather, thank you so
Yep.
much. Your testimony is so incredible. And there's just so many aspects to it, but I love that part about just staying consistent, staying the course, that it's not an overnight fix. And so I'm going to give you guys a very quick rundown of the products, the basic gut health package, plus the two extra that she had talked about. And then let's open it up for questions because I'm sure you guys have some questions that you want to ask her before we jump off. So let's just start with Slim. Slim, BioCleanse, and ProBio 5. This is the basic gut health package. So Slim basically just regulates your blood sugar, it reduces inflammation, and it helps with hormone balance. This is like one of the main factors of why people on Plexus sleep so good. It's because melatonin is a hormone, and this balances your hormones. Um, ProBio 5 is a probiotic but it is an antifungal probiotic that targets Candida overgrowth. There are so many probiotics on the market that are not effective because they don't have an antifungal, and this one does. And if you have any question about Candida, Google it. Like Google Candida plus whatever health issues you're struggling with, and I bet you will find a connection. And this is the answer to it. BioCleanse is a magnesium supplement and it will just help your body naturally detox. So that is the basic gut health package. And I know Heather mentioned a few other ones, but these are the basic ones that she was talking about. X Factor Plus is our multivitamin, and not only does it have like a powerful B vitamin component, but it also has aloe for extra absorption. And MTHFR is kind of a buzzword, or it has been in the past. I believe that at least half, if not more, of the population has that gene mutation, which basically prevents you from properly detoxing. And this, not, I mean, the whole gut health package for sure, but X Factor Plus is just going to be a game changer for you. I personally have the MTHFR and the X Factor, like just it almost woke me up out of a fog. It was such a powerful addition to the triplex. And then the last one is Ease, and Ease has a green lipid muscle. It is a that will just naturally go into your body, find the inflammation, and eat it up. Like this is such an incredible addition for fighting inflammation. The basic gut health package fights inflammation on its own, but adding this in, if you have any type of chronic pain or any type of discomfort, like I take this every day. Inflammation has been a huge part of my health journey, and I wouldn't want to be without it. So
Misty,
anyway,
can I tag on to your information
yes.
about the X Factor? Because I just wanted to mention that when I didn't start taking that right away, and I before I had my son, I had a lot of iron issues that I thought had resolved and kind of sort of came back to haunt me. Specifically, not my iron levels, but my ability to absorb iron. I just wasn't absorbing it the way that I needed to from the food and the supplements that I had been taking, including like the prenatals that I had been on when I was pregnant with him. And
Mhm.
so after, after I had him and I discovered Plexus and I started taking that, I guess about maybe like 9 months later, I added in X Factor Plus. And I went from having to have multiple iron infusions a year to not needing iron infusions. In fact, I took X Factor Plus all the way through my pregnancy with my daughter. And typically, what happens after you deliver is you lose so much blood, not necessarily bad, but like you lose so much blood and the volume of your blood is so significantly decreased that your iron levels do tend to drop after delivery. And what they found after I delivered my daughter was that my iron levels were actually really stable. Which was unusual. They were unusually stable, especially for me. And so, just to find something that had a really bioavailable source of iron. If you look at the X Factor Plus label, it doesn't say iron, but it has that black currant in it. And that's such a high bioavailable source of iron. And so for me, that actually just transformed my iron issues and they're non-existent anymore.
That's incredible. That's amazing. Yeah, I love that X Factor Plus. I have never used a multivitamin that I actually could feel the difference using it. So it's such a powerhouse, and a lot of people kind of skip over that because they're more interested in the weight loss aspects, but that is a huge powerhouse that Plexus offers. And I also love that you mentioned that, your weight kind of fluctuates and that the healthy lifestyle is basically the strong component to, maintaining the weight loss. But the thing about it is, and my weight fluctuates also, but like the just you are glowing. Like you are absolutely glowing. Like you can just see that you're thriving. And it's like despite because I know we're critical of ourselves and we go back and forth in our weight and we're like, "Oh, I just, whatever." But still, like the Plexus products will just let you glow from the inside out. And so anyway, I just had to mention that. Like there is
Oh,
a huge difference.
there's also such a relationship, right, between how we feel and what we're capable of doing. So
Mm,
I think when we feel bad, we get in this vicious cycle of maybe our hormones are out of balance and our gut is out of balance. And so we have all these symptoms that prevent us from moving our body, from sleeping well, from being able to sort of mentally handle the healthy habits that we know we should pursue, but maybe we just can't. We feel so stuck. But what if you had something that gave you just a little bit more energy, just a little less brain fog, just a little more clarity, just a little more get up and go? You'd start walking a little bit more. You'd start moving your body a little bit more. You'd sleep a little better. You'd feel a little more in control of your eating habits. You would feel a little bit better, and the just even feeling that little bit better allows you to then sort of break that cycle of poor habits and poor health because it allows you to do a little bit more, and the better you feel and the little bit more you do, the better you feel and the little bit more you do.
yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it's not even about your weight. because I always tell people weight is just your where your weight is at is a happy side effect of how your body overall is functioning. I try really hard not to like tell people you should take this so you can lose weight, because honestly, like I think that health should be your first goal and weight should just be the happy side effect, especially as women, because I'm sorry, but the men have it really easy. They're on a 24-hour hormone cycle, and we have like, I don't even know, how many days. It fluctuates for all of us, right? And so, and then we won't even get into like perimenopause and menopause. Um, but so for us, I think like weight should be secondary to like how much energy do we have? How strong can we build our muscles? How clear are our minds? Those sorts of things.
100%. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Heather?
I wanted, so Heather, thank you so much for helping my friend Kathy. But because we are recording this and we can share this, I would love for you to also share how your children take the products and what they've done for, like, briefly just share how they've helped them, because there are I know that with Down syndrome they have a decreased motility, and I know that that's what you've been helping Kathy with, and it's been encouraging for her, so thank you for being one plexus and helping her with that. But I would love for you to just share it on this platform, so that way when we have people that are interested in that in products for their children, we can also have your pleximony for that.
Sure. I'll try to be super brief. I don't know, just to clarify for people who are going to be watching this, Down syndrome is when you have 3 copies of the 21st chromosome. And so it's also called trisomy 21. There's variations of that, but I won't get into that. My son has full trisomy 21, which means every cell in his body has 3 copies of the 21st chromosome. That impacts him in a lot of ways. It causes everything from developmental delays to communication delays, low muscle tone. It impacts things like gut motility, immune function. Um, I think the statistic is like 50% of kids with Down syndrome are born with some sort of cardiac or heart issue. 30% are likely to experience some sort of endocrine or thyroid issue. So there's a lot of statistics for poor health. A lot of kids with Down syndrome end up with autoimmune conditions because their immune systems work and function differently. They're always kind of firing. The way I heard it and I tell other people is that their immune systems are always firing. And when your immune system is just always firing and under threat, for a lot of them, eventually, you develop those autoimmune conditions where your body just starts attacking itself. And so, you find that a lot of them deal with things like alopecia. Some of them have type 21 or type 1 diabetes. There are a lot of autoimmune conditions that they are prone to. And so I'm a big believer in helping your children thrive regardless of the struggles that are ahead of them. I think that goes for any parent, right? Your child could be diagnosed, your child could be given a life-altering diagnosis at any point. Just because I received one for my child at birth, or some parents received theirs in utero for their child, doesn't mean that at some point in someone else's child's life, wherever, whatever stage that is, you could receive a life-altering diagnosis. For us, the biggest thing that Plexus has helped him with is, I would say, immune function and gut motility. We have friends in the Down syndrome community, and I see so many of our little friends who are just constantly hospitalized, especially during the winter months. Respiratory issues, they catch everything that comes down the pike. So really bolstering that immune system is essential. My son has been taking the kids multivitamin and probiotic combo since he was really little. We've gone through seasons where he's also received the probio. I would open it up and put it in an applesauce squeezy pouch, give it to him. You kind of put it in the top, and you shake it up a little, and you just like squeeze until they swallow it. It's like an applesauce shooter. And then also the bio cleanse. He does get the bio cleanse on a regular basis. Now we do see holistic doctors for him. He does take some additional supports like vitamin D and vitamin C and some extra things on top of his Plexus supplements, because I think that it's really important to remember that Plexus is a tool and it can work alongside of whatever tools your doctor feels are necessary to help you as a bio-unique individual, whether that's Western medicine or additional supplementation or lifestyle, dietary requirements, whatever those things are. Plexus is such a tool to help support and come alongside and benefit you while you're doing that. But definitely the bio cleanse for gut motility. My son, you hear so many kids with Down syndrome are on or have been recommended Miralax. Miralax is terrible. You can look it up. I won't go into it, but it's honestly really terrible, and it's not made for long-term use. But so many of these kiddos are put on it for long-term use, and my son has never, thankfully, had to be on it. We have had a few scary incidents where couple scary croup incidents, but where he's had to be, taken to the doctor, or he's only been hospitalized once for that. Instead of every single season, it's been once in 10 years that he's been hospitalized for croup. Was it really scary in the moment? Yes. But do I regularly send him? I don't worry when I send him into the play place at Chick-fil-A or the kids club at our gym or our homeschool co-op. I don't worry about the germs that he's going to interact with, because I know that we're creating a strong foundation here at home with his gut. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of what I want to say. 80% of your immune system is in your gut. And so for these kiddos where immune function is so compromised and where gut motility is so slow, having something that boosts that immune system and can gently relax and help them pass things through their gut, I would say those have been the two most important things for him. And my daughter also takes, she takes the kids' chewables as well. And she also currently takes the ProBio 5 because she needs a little bit of extra support with some things.
And just to clarify, to those that don't know, what are their ages?
Oh, I'm sorry. So my son is 10. My son is 10. He's the one with Down syndrome. And then my daughter, she's neurotypical, and she's 7.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So you had a pregnancy with Plexus and a second or a first pregnancy without
Yes.
Plexus and a second pregnancy with Plexus?
Yes, that is true.
Did you have the postpartum anxiety? How was your pregnancy? Can you compare, or do you remember?
So honestly, I know this is going to sound really weird, but I honestly, part of it is you don't have time, right? When you have a little running around and you're pregnant, it feels very different. But I will say that I felt less pregnant the second time around. I don't know what that means, but it just, I had a lot of energy. And I didn't get and when you're pregnant, you're immune compromised. I did get sick, very sick several times during my pregnancy with my son. And I didn't get sick at all during my pregnancy with my daughter. So I think my immune function was better. I think my energy was like through the roof, except for maybe like the last 10 days because my daughter was 10 days overdue. And I think I was just done by that point. But I would say my energy and my immune function were really exceptional my second pregnancy. And they had to be, right? Because I'm chasing around this 2-year-old with special needs, and I'm dealing with early intervention coming to the house, and we're, working on all of these, extra things that they're giving us to do lists and in-home therapy. And so I didn't have time to feel pregnant.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. And the postpartum difference.
I almost cried during my breastfeeding experience with my daughter, not because there was anything wrong with it, but because it went so well. and just felt so right. And I never had like an oversupply or anything, but I never had to fight for my milk supply during my postpartum experience, breastfeeding experience with her, the way that I did with my son. And I think part of that is stress, but I think a lot of that is just nourishing your body. When your body is more nourished and more balanced, it doesn't have to fight to produce milk. It doesn't have to fight to nourish a child. So I think that was pretty significant. And then also the postpartum anxiety, there was just such a night and day difference for me. I think I still struggled a little bit with like anxiety, but not to the extent where, I'm unable to function and, sobbing on the phone to my, my people every day.
I understand that. I'm glad for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad for you. Your kids have an awesome mom.
Oh, you're sweet, Lori.
Well, I am going to end the recording.